Welcome to Politics Nation. I'm Al Sharpton. Tonight's lead, the secret's out about Mitt Romney's secretive campaign. We'll admit Romney is running the most secretive presidential campaign in modern history, refusing to provide details to basic questions about his record and his views. How long did he actually run Bain Capital? Why did he have a Swiss bank account? Who are the billionaires and millionaires funding his campaign? Releasing his tax returns would help answer many of the questions. But once again today, he refused.
The Obama people keep on wanting more and more and more things to pick through, more things for their opposition research to try and make a mountain out of, and to distort and to be dishonest about. We're going to put out 2 years of tax returns.
This weekend, even his allies broke rank and said if he doesn't release more tax returns, then he must have something to hide.
The costs of not releasing the returns are clear. Therefore, he must have calculated that there are higher costs in releasing.
You should release the tax returns tomorrow. It's crazy. You've got to release 6, 8, 10 years of back tax returns. Take the hit for a day or two.
I was asked today that question, do you think that Governor Romney should release his tax returns? And I said, I do.
There's obviously something there, because if there was nothing there, he would say, have at it. So there's obviously something there that compromises what he said in the past about something.
There's something there. What's striking is that secrecy is not new for Romney. Oddly, for a public figure, it's been an article of political faith. His secrecy extends to his career at Bain Capital. Romney now says he left Bain in 1999, but he's listed as CEO for 3 years after that. Today, the New York Times reports, quote, Romney's name or signature appears on dozens of documents filed with the SEC. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission. Between February of 1999 and August 2001. All told, Romney's name appears on at least 142 such forms. 142 forms, all signed after he says he left. He no longer had a role in the company, he says. To explain this inconsistency, Team Romney has been forced to introduce a whole new explainer to the political world. Folks, may I introduce you to a new talking point: retroactive retirement.
He actually retired retroactively at that point, David, because he ended up not going back to the firm after his time in Salt Lake City. He took a leave of absence, and in fact, Kenny, he ended up not going back at all and retired retroactively to February of 1999 as a result.
Folks, I think Republicans are retroactively regretting they didn't do a better job of vetting Romney back during the primary. But wait, there's more. President Obama, Senator McCain, and President Bush all released the names of their campaign bundlers, the big money fundraisers who bring in millions of dollars. But Romney is refusing to do so. He apparently thinks the American people don't deserve to know who's raising money for his campaign. All this secrecy makes for bad politics, but it also makes for bad policy. We should all be worried about what Romney is hiding in his plans for the economy and his plans for the country. Joining me now is Dana Milbank, columnist for the Washington Post, and Aaron McPike, reporter with Real Clear Politics. Dana, let's start with you. How does all this secrecy affect rounding out the portrait of Willard Mitt Romney?
Well, look, Reverend, the retroactive retirement is a very powerful concept. What this means is that Mitt Romney is potentially a time traveler and can go back in time and change history. So I think the next thing we can expect is he'll go back in time and actually take his dog off the roof of the family car. Assuming he cannot do that, however, he does seem to have this repeated problem with not getting information out there. I don't know why it keeps happening, because whatever's in those tax returns, it can't be as bad as the bleeding he's going to be suffering every day. And then he's going to be forced to release them in some form anyway. So he's really fallen into the trap that the Obama campaign has laid for him quite masterfully. And I don't see how he gets out of this.
Now, with Republicans coming out, with conservative commentators, columnists, TV commentators coming out, do you think ultimately he's going to be forced to release them?
Well, he's already said he's going to release another batch, the last year's 2011 returns. But there's kind of this braying for it.
Wait a minute, he said he's going to release 2011.
Right, but
that's not a batch, Dana. I mean, a batch is like his father did, or like others that ran and won for president did.
It gets very difficult when this sort of thing becomes so central. It becomes a proxy issue for all sorts of other things that he is not releasing. He can refuse to release it, of course. He used to be a businessman. They thrive on secrecy. He's in a different arena here, and I think he's not realizing how much damage he's causing himself. It's hard to see how he gets away with it.
Well, them quiet rooms he talks about. But, Aaron, let me go to you. When you look at the record, President Obama released 12 years. George W. Bush, 8 years. George Romney, his own father, 12 years. And when you hear this raise to the Romney campaign, he's been inaccurately saying, well, Teresa Hines Carey didn't release her taxes in 2004. Let me show you what he says about Mrs. Carey.
John Kerry ran for president. You know, his wife, who has hundreds of millions of dollars, she never released her tax returns. Right. Somehow this wasn't an issue.
Now, I might add the Kerry's campaign, not the campaign, but his office, he's not running anymore, hit back with this comment saying the Romney campaign needs to stop getting their facts wrong. Mitt Romney ought to speak for himself instead of trying to deflect attention by making inaccurate comments about Senator Kerry's wife, Teresa. And it's interesting to me, Aaron, first he was saying Kerry only put out 2 years and it ended up being 5. He's trying to do everything he can to deflect from answering why he doesn't do what most people have done.
Well, remember also that Teresa Hines Carey didn't run for president. John Kerry did. And in this case, Mitt Romney is running for president. The bigger problem here, Al, is that, look, this is indicative of how Mitt Romney could govern as president. Will he keep secrets from the American people if he's president in what he's doing every day in negotiations with other countries, et cetera? That's the question. And that's why this is a big problem. Americans want transparency with their government, and he's not giving that to anybody right now.
And part of it is he said that he was the business guy that could bring the economy back. He told America to look at what he did at Bain. Now he's telling us, but I'm not going to tell you everything about how I handled my own finances or Bain.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and here's the other thing. This is why this is not going to go away. The press corps is like a moth to a flame when it comes to secrets. So unless he puts out tax returns or is more upfront about his tenure at Bain Capital, we're going to keep digging until we get to the bottom of it. And that's why it's a problem for Mitt Romney going forward.
Now, Dana, he's a businessman, a cost-effective guy. What could be in there that would be worse than what he's going through now? I mean, there has to be something that makes him feel like I'll take all of this. I think you used the term bleeding. It's less than if I release it. What could this be?
Well, look, we don't know, Reverend, and that's what's so tantalizing about this. Presumably, as he was getting ready for his first presidential run last time around, he rearranged some of his finances to get it in a more politically saleable position to be in. Look, there was a time when he did not expect his tax records to be public, and when you're in a business environment, you expect privacy, you expect to protect proprietary information. He was dealing in a completely different realm. We know that the path leads to the Cayman Islands, to Bermuda, to Switzerland. That's embarrassing enough. Is it just more of the same? Well, that's pretty bad. Or are there still other things on top of that? And Obama has been merciless in exploiting this, as he should be. So clearly there seems to be something else.
Aaron, the thing that also bothers me is the secrecy of his economic plan. Paul Krugman, in Sunday's column in the New York Times, said, quote, Romney's tax cuts would increase the annual deficit by almost $500 billion. He claims that he would make this up by closing loopholes. But he's refused to give any specifics, and there's no reason to believe him. So not only is he not being forthcoming with his leading Bain, his tenured Bain, that he, again, is the one that told us to look at, he won't even tell us his policies in terms of, I'm going to pay for this by closing loopholes, but he won't tell us how.
Exactly. Well, Mitt Romney's advisors have indicated that they think specifics are going to be a problem. Once you put specifics out about a plan, then it gives the press something to make a target of. And it's the same principle is with why he won't disclose his bundlers that are helping him fundraise for his campaign. In that case, it's guilt by association, because then the press will go after each of those bundlers, look into their business deals, and then each time one of those bundlers has had a bad business deal, Mitt Romney is then guilty by association again, and so that's why he's not doing that, too.
Interesting. So you want a specific vote for a specific office, but you're not going to talk specific policy. Dana Milbank, Eric McPike, thank you both for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Coming up, President Obama goes to the key swing state of Ohio with a tough message for the Romney campaign. I'll talk about the campaign strategy with the raging Cajun, James Carville. He joins me live here in the studio. Also, is Anthony Weiner making a political comeback? He's back in the headlines today in a big way. And the kitten who took on the Koch brothers, the Doberman, that's coming up. You're watching Politics Nation on MSNBC.